So I'm here to share with you moments from my life, most of which was spent in a swimming pool, and tell you a story about what I did and how I got to my goals and dreams, and I still continue to pursue. And through those, there were many lessons that I learned, and therefore the theme of my talk is called Lessons for Life from a Lifetime in Sport. Okay, and these are some lessons that I believe hold me in good stead today, and I hope you can take back with you to help you as well through your goals and through your career. Okay, so the first lesson is called Find Your Calling. Telling my story, I started swimming at the age of 7. By default, as a young kid, I was born premature. I had recurring bouts of bronchitis, coughs, colds, and fever. So the doctors told my parents that I should learn how to swim, as it would heal me, it would be therapeutic. I also tried my hand at dance, and there came a time when I would do one day of dance class and one day of swimming. So I would be at Shamak Davar's dance class in Bombay on one day, and I would go to the swimming pool at Willingdon Sports Club the next, up to a point where my dad told me one day that I can't handle the traffic, you've got to make a choice and choose one career. And which kid wouldn't choose the spotlight, the warmth of a spotlight on stage, rather than the freezing cold water of a swimming pool? So I told him, Dad, I want to dance. And it just so happened, I don't know whether it was good luck or bad luck, that on that day when my dad dropped me off at dance class, the dance instructor told all the kids in the auditorium that today is going to be day 1 of 3 months of partner dance, duet dance. So he told all the little boys in the class that you've got to go out and now find a girl in your class, in this class, that's going to be your partner for the next 3 months. And being a very, very shy kid, the thought of having my arms wrapped around a girl for the next 3 months was absolutely mortifying and terrifying. So luckily for me, there was a back door in that auditorium. I got to it, I went out, my dad was still in the parking lot. I went to my dad and said, Dad, I've changed my mind, I want to swim. Okay, and as funny as that sounds, or as unbelievable as that sounds, that's actually why I decided to initially start swimming. But when I talk about finding your calling, what held me through over a decade of very, very difficult times in the pool and also a lot of success in the pool was the fact that I made an effort to find certain parts of my sport, which was swimming, that I truly loved. Okay, so whether it was the sound that my arm made when it entered the water, or it was the feeling of my lungs or my heart when I was getting ready to represent my country, at a big meet, I found certain things for myself within my craft that I truly enjoyed doing and pursuing. And that's how I suggest to everyone here, all the students here, is when you go home tonight, you want to sit down and you want to decide what your calling is, or start thinking about it. And when you try to make those decisions, and it could be anything, it could be speech and drama, it could be sport, it could be, you could grow up to be anything you want to do, but when you talk about finding your calling, the reason why I feel it's so important to spend time over this is you have to make your decision based on one very important thing. It's not what you enjoy doing on your best days, but what you enjoy doing on your worst. Okay, and if there is true love and joy that you get from that one craft, it will take you through your bad days. So when I had year after year of what I would consider failure in my sport, which I'm going to get to a little later in this talk, the one thing that held me to my sport and helped me to stay the road and stay the course was my love for those little things that I had made an effort to find. So if you are an artist, you may want to find the quiet meditative time that you can fall in love with. So on a day when you don't feel you are creative enough, you still fall in love with that meditative creative time. Okay, so for me, finding my calling was swimming. And I'm going to read this quote out to you. It's one of my most favorite quotes. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 3,000 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. I'm attempting to encapsulate the next 8 years of my swimming into 3 minutes. Okay, so the reason I talk about the second lesson, which is staying the course through your ups and downs, is my little story where at 2014, at the age of 16, I was the fastest swimmer in the country. And because of that, I was told that I should attempt trying to qualify for the Olympics. It was 2004, and the qualifying time for the Olympics in the event I chose, which was the 200-meter butterfly, was 2 minutes and 4 seconds. My personal best time was 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So to be an Olympian, and for an athlete, the Olympics is the greatest destination for any athlete. To turn into an Olympian, you've got to fulfill two criteria. You've got to be the number one swimmer in the country, and you've got to hit that qualifying time. So with every race I swam, I went from 2 minutes and 8 seconds to 2 minutes and 7, to 2 minutes and 6, and 2 minutes and 5. And when I got really, really close to achieving my goal and dream, the size of the goal ahead, the pressure got to me. And not only did I not qualify in the last possible qualifier in 2004, but I went slower. I came back home and I told my parents and coach, I don't want to do this anymore. I was given a challenge. I put a challenge to myself, and I failed. And therefore, I didn't want to. I took a month off from swimming. But what brought me back to the pool was a moment that I'll always remember. I was watching the Athens, I didn't end up going to the Athens Olympics, obviously, but I was watching the Athens Olympics on television. It was the opening ceremony, and I realized there was nothing more in my heart that I wanted than to be part of that Indian contingent. So I went up to my coach the next morning after a 1-month break, and I told him, sir, I want to swim, and I want to turn Olympian in 4 years, and because you will coach me, I will make you an Olympian as well. So we got onto that journey, which was possibly the hardest 4 years of my swimming career. I worked extremely hard. I fought a lot of mental demons, a lot of battles mentally. And once again, 4 years later, it was almost like deja vu. I landed up at the same meet that I had failed at in 2004. It was the Malaysian Open. And by then, as bad luck would have it for me, the qualifying time had been speeded up from 2 minutes and 4 to 2 minutes and 1 second. I was 1 second off that time. And it was possibly the greatest moment of my swimming career where I had an opportunity to turn Olympian or not. And I swam that race, and just before I swam that race, I had negative thoughts that I had had back in 2004, which were, what are my parents going to say if I fail? What are my coaches going to say if I fail? What is the press back home going to say if I fail? And in that moment, I realized that this is not why I swim. The reason I swim is because I have a love for the sport. I have a love for the swimming pool. And I raced with that last thought lingering in my mind. And after 15 years of competing and trying very hard to realize a childhood dream of being at the Olympics, I clocked that 2 minutes and 1 second. And fast forward to 1 month later, I was standing as one of 61 Indians good enough and given the honor to represent his country's flag at the Olympics. My coach and I walked out onto the opening ceremony. And sure enough, I looked at him and I said, sir, we are here. We are Olympians. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make through this story, though it may look like I'm just, showing off, is that all of us here, all the students here, I'm sure have some goals, have some dreams, have something that they want to achieve. Understand that success takes time. It takes time, and you have to find the patience to see and stay the course. My next lesson is called the importance of mentors, importance of teachers. I was very lucky in my career to have some great coaches that taught me lessons. Okay, and when I talk about mentors, that's me with my coach that I took to the Olympics, and that's me with possibly the most successful Indian contingent that ever has been in the 4x100 freestyle and medley relay. But the reason I talk about the importance of mentors and the lesson I'd like to share with you, to teach your students today, is I think it is extremely important to make an effort, okay, to make an effort to find people who you can surround yourself with, who will celebrate your success as much as you will, and will be as happy for the realization of your dreams as you will. And it does not have to be 50 or 100 people, it can be 2 people. But make the effort to find those people, okay? And then, once you find them, whether it is best friends or whether it is teachers, have an open ear and always be willing to listen, because it is the strength of that team that you can draw from. It is the lessons that those mentors teach you that will help you realize your dreams. Okay, this is the only part where I get to really show off. So that's me at the age of 7, making that life-changing decision of turning into a swimmer, and that's me with signing my first sponsor. Today, when I talk about the last lesson I'm going to talk about is called Success is Never Final, Learning Never Ends. I think that to learn, you have to have no ego. And I believe that when you have the will to learn, there is no end to the success you will achieve. So my message to everyone here is that no matter how successful you get in life, no matter how many goals and dreams you do realize, always remain a student. Okay, the reason there is a golf club in my hand is because today, after 15 years of competing in one sport, I've picked up a second, and I have as big goals of reaching the same goals in my sport, in golf. I do not know if I will ever make it, but I believe I am putting the best foot forward. That's me. I run workshops for swimmers around the country today because I have so much love for the sport and I miss it so much that I'd love to see youngsters do as well as I did. And that's me speaking like I'm speaking to you all today. Okay, I feel that there is an extremely huge power of positive visualization. And these medals that you see, that's the Arjuna Award that I won in 2010 and the Best Athlete trophies on my left on 2 occasions. All these moments, all these medals, all these wins, I visualized as a 9-year-old. I visualized as an 11-year-old. I visualized as a 15-year-old. And today when I play golf, if it's an empty golf course, I walk down the last hole of that golf course, tipping my hat to an empty gallery. Okay, and when I tip my hat, I'm visualizing that there is a gallery full of people clapping for me as I walk down the major of the US Open. Okay, I do not know if that dream will ever come true, but I dare to dream. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I'm going to end this talk with a quote from one of my favorite poems that is called The Road Ahead or The Road Behind by George Joseph Moriarty, which says, "For who can ask more of a man than giving all within his span? For giving all, it seems to me, is not so far from victory." We live, kids, in a very, very, very competitive world. And we live in a world where you meet people like me who was unsatisfied, dissatisfied with all he's achieved at the age of 36, that he goes on to pursuing a sport and pursuing a near impossible dream. And I'm sure a lot of you today have big goals, big dreams. I hope that you will get to them. But for those who feel that the road is too long, the road ahead is too long, or it is too impossible to achieve, please remember that all you can do is with the effort that you can put into your goals and dreams that is within you. No more, no less. So if who can ask more of a man than giving all within his span? Give all within your span. Start your journey, hopefully from today, with some of my words. Find your calling. Have the passion for your sport or your craft to stay the course when you go through your downs. Surround yourself with mentors. Surround yourself with a team that will celebrate your success as much as you will. Think positively. Do a lot of positive visualization. And maybe at the end of 10 or 15 years of your journey, you can put up a picture in front of a school full of parents and teachers proudly with the Olympic rings and your country's flag, daring to dream, daring to represent. Thank you very much.